Project 2025 is a comprehensive plan designed by conservatives to reshape the federal government. The Heritage Foundation, a prominent conservative think tank, is behind it. Project 2025 serves as a detailed blueprint for the next Republican president. The plan is extensive, covering hundreds of pages and touching on various government departments. It includes both domestic and foreign policy, aiming for quick execution on day one of a new administration. This level of detail is unusual in pre-election planning. The introduction of Project 2025 has stirred debate, with some seeing it as visionary and others as extreme. The plan addresses sensitive issues like immigration, education, and healthcare, proposing significant changes. These changes would affect millions of Americans. The introduction of this plan marks a pivotal point in American politics, an act showing a clear vision for a conservative-led government. The Heritage Foundation birthed Project 2025 in response to a need for a detailed conservative plan ready for immediate use. Conservative policy expert. The purpose of Project 2025 is to transform government, aligning it with conservative principles like limited government and free market economics. The plan is comprehensive, covering all aspects of federal operations and designed for speed and efficiency. Heritage Foundation leaders explain that previous transitions were too slow, and Project 2025 aims to change this by providing a ready-made plan for immediate action. The purpose is to maximize impact during the crucial early days of an administration when political capital is highest. Another key purpose is unity, aiming to align conservatives and create a shared vision for governing. The plan serves as a rallying point, bringing together different conservative factions and presenting a united front for electoral success and effective governance. Project 2025 is organized into 5 main sections, each focusing on a crucial area of governance. The first is taking the reins of government, outlining how to quickly take charge of federal agencies. The second is the common defense, dealing with national security and military matters. The third section is the general welfare, covering domestic policies like healthcare, education, and social services. The fourth section is the economy, laying out plans for fiscal and monetary policy. The last section is independent regulatory agencies, focusing on oversight of various regulatory bodies. These sections form a cohesive strategy, creating a comprehensive vision for governance. The structure ensures that all major areas of government are addressed, providing a roadmap for implementing conservative policies. Taking the reins of government is a critical section, focusing on the transition of power and swift action. Conservative policy expert, a key proposal is re-implementing Schedule F, a Trump-era executive order, making it easier to fire federal employees. The goal is to remove perceived obstacles hindering conservative agendas. This section also proposes budget cuts targeting agencies seen as bloated or ineffective. It suggests ways to bypass traditional bureaucratic processes, using executive orders extensively for quick changes without congressional approval. The section emphasizes loyalty, stressing the appointment of officials who align with the conservative vision. Another focus is on communication strategies, including managing press relations and using social media effectively. Overall, this section is about asserting control and creating momentum for the entire administration. Section 5, Common Defense and General Welfare, proposes changes to military strategy, emphasizing a stronger posture, includes increased defense spending and a more unilateral foreign policy, focuses on stricter immigration policies and border security, outlines cybersecurity strategies and increased funding, proposes market-based healthcare solutions and school choice, reforms social welfare programs, including Social Security and Medicare, aims to reshape domestic policy with conservative principles. Section 6, Economic Policies and Regulatory Agencies. The economy section outlines a conservative approach to fiscal policy, calling for significant tax cuts and reducing corporate tax rates. Spending cuts aim to reduce the federal deficit, with proposals for cuts to various government programs. Monetary policy suggests reforms to the Federal Reserve and more oversight of the central bank. Trade policy calls for a more protectionist approach, including renegotiating trade deals. Labor regulations would be reduced to boost business growth. The Independent Regulatory Agencies section focuses on reducing government oversight, proposing major changes to regulatory bodies like the EPA, FCC, and SEC. The goal is to decrease regulations, streamline approval processes, and reduce the power of these agencies. Energy policy calls for increased domestic production and reduced environmental regulations on energy companies. Overall, this section aims to reduce government interference in the economy, aligning with free market principles. Section 7. Key Policy Proposals. Project 2025 includes several standout policy proposals, such as re-implementing Schedule F to make it easier to fire federal employees. Another key proposal is removing diversity, equity, and inclusion language from federal hiring and contracting. Immigration policy focuses on stricter border control, completing the border wall, and increased deportations. Healthcare proposals include repealing the Affordable Care Act and suggesting market-based alternatives. Education policy calls for expanding school choice and reducing federal involvement. Environmental policy proposes rolling back regulations and adopting a more industry-friendly approach. Energy policy calls for increased domestic production and reducing restrictions on fossil fuels. Foreign policy suggests a more unilateral approach, reducing involvement in international organizations. Economic policy proposes significant tax cuts, reducing corporate rates, and simplifying the tax code. Regulatory policy aims to reduce the power of regulatory agencies and streamline approval processes. These proposals represent a comprehensive conservative vision, touching on all major areas of governance. Section 8. Authors and Supporters. Project 2025 is the work of many conservative minds, led by the Heritage Foundation and involving numerous experts and organizations. Key figures include former Trump administration officials, Heritage Foundation leaders, and Republican lawmakers. The authors represent different conservative factions, including fiscal conservatives, social conservatives, and national security experts. Supporters of Project 2025 include prominent Republican politicians, conservative media figures, and think tanks aligned with conservative causes. Business leaders, especially those favoring deregulation, back it. Religious conservative groups have shown support, giving the plan significant weight. Conservative organizations, advocacy groups, policy institutes, and some conservative donors have rallied behind it. Grassroots conservative movements see it as a concrete plan for change, giving the plan political momentum. Section 9. Democratic Response and Criticisms. Democrats have responded strongly to Project 2025, seeing it as an extreme plan.
Many criticize it as a threat to democracy, warning of potential harm to government institutions. Civil rights organizations express concern about the impact on minority communities.
Critics point to specific aspects of the plan, such as the proposal to make firing federal employees easier and removing diversity initiatives.
Overall, the Democratic response is one of strong opposition, vowing to fight against its implementation.
Section 10. Potential Impact and Implications. Project 2025 could dramatically reshape government. Federal agencies might see significant changes, with job losses. Regulatory oversight would decrease, affecting industries.
Environmental protections might be rolled back, impacting air and water quality. Healthcare could see major shifts, with coverage loss. Education policy could change, with school choice expanding.
Immigration policy would tighten, changing the demographic landscape. Economic policies could have broad effects, with tax cuts and deficit increase. Trade policies might shift, affecting international relations. Labor regulations might loosen, changing workplace dynamics.
Social programs could see major reforms affecting vulnerable populations.
Project 2025 could shift political norms and the balance of power. It might strengthen executive authority, affecting governance. The project could deepen political divisions. Project 2025 represents a potential turning point in American politics. Reflecting on American political discourse. Project 2025 shows a shift towards detailed policy planning.
It highlights growing polarization, contrasting conservative and liberal visions. It challenges bipartisanship, suggesting a unilateral approach.
Compromise is less valued, with a focus on decisive action. The project proposes a reduced federal presence.
It highlights the growing influence of think tanks. It reflects changes in media and communication.
Project 2025 shows a desire for transformative change and deep ideological divisions. It highlights the high stakes of elections and risks further polarization. It raises questions about the future of American democracy.